George Russell's contract with Mercedes is yet to be extended despite all the convincing statements made by both the driver and the team. There seems to be a crucial problem in the demands of Russell and what the team is ready to offer. And this is where Verstappen's availability slots in. Everything leads towards his availability and Wolff's desire to sign him beyond 2027, which suggests that the Austrian is not ready to meet George's contractual demands. But will this dangerous game by Wolff result in Russell having to look for another home beyond 2026? Or will they finally agree that the future of Mercedes lies with the British driver? The situation between George Russell and Mercedes should have become quite eased with Verstappen's commitment to Red Bull in 2026. However, it has only gotten more controversial. The four-time world champion decided to remain with the Austrian squad, and that itself should have been enough for Wolff to continue the collaboration with Russell on a long-term basis. However, a contract is yet to be signed, and it gives us the opportunity to think about what is on Wolff's mind after all those yacht meetings with Verstappen. And you shouldn't be a genius to understand that the loyalty of Verstappen will be tested in 2026. If Red Bull fails to build competitive machinery, which is highly likely to be the case according to insider reports, then Max could explore the market. Why is this important for Russell? Because he doesn't want a 1-1 contract, the one that Mercedes is currently offering him. He wants security and longevity. It's the same strategy that the Brackley-based squad used on Hamilton as well. But the 7-time world champion didn't want to play the games of Wolff. He knew he would be appreciated somewhere else. Let's make one thing clear. 2026 is not a questionable year for either side. As of now, there is no reason why Mercedes and Russell should part ways in the first year of the regulations, and the Brit will continue with the Brackley-based squad. However, the doubts are raised from 2027 onwards. Because the new regulations are bringing huge question marks, a lot of questions will be answered throughout the season, such as the availability of Verstappen if Red Bull turns out to be a very low competitive team due to their engine deficit. Now, Wolff openly stated that when Max is available, you have to at least talk to him before you decide what your next move will be. Of course, there are tons of other factors that would be crucial as to whether or not Verstappen would still be on Mercedes' radar throughout 2026, such as the competitiveness of the Brackley-based squad. If they were to have the lead that they had back in 2014, do they actually need the services of Verstappen? It was reported that this was the deal breaker for the shareholders of Mercedes, as they believe that if the team enters the newly regulated era with great competitiveness, then there is no need to change their philosophy. But then the contract of Russell should have been extended by now. The summer break is gone, and we still have no idea what's going on between these two parties. Russell himself stated that the decision to delay the contract extension was for him to focus on his future. And I can kind of understand him. His future in Mercedes is more or less decided by Verstappen's availability. And the sole fact that you know you are not the number one priority of your team, despite all of Wolff's statements, should make you want to explore the market and seek an environment in which you won't depend on another driver's future, regardless of his success in the sport. Elaborating further on the direction of the talks, George said, "It's positively moving in the right direction, but there's no time pressure from my side, and there's not major time pressure from the team's side. So I just want to ensure it's done right and not done quickly. There are pros and cons to having short-term and long-term contracts. For me, this season, more than ever, proves it always comes down to performance. The number that's stated in the contract is ultimately just a number, but it's obviously something I'm thinking about. I need to make sure everything is right and we are all heading in the right direction. I hope that can be with Mercedes." If you hear that carefully, you can sense a note of doubt from Russell, which is more than justified. He is 28 years old, in his prime, and I think he wouldn't have a problem finding a seat if it's not with Mercedes right away. The problem is that the team that would offer a seat right now might not be nearly as competitive as the Brackley-based squad or Red Bull. Other than the Austrian team, it's hard to imagine McLaren or Ferrari shaking up their roster to bring Russell. But if you flip the script apart from Verstappen, who can Mercedes bring as George's replacement? It's a very interesting situation for both sides. So what we can conclude from this entire situation is that 2026 is the year in which Russell and Mercedes will benefit from working together. There is just not a better option projected right now. Russell can risk it all and talk to Red Bull, who wouldn't have a hard time kicking Tsunoda and bringing the Brit. but a big obstacle could be Verstappen. Now that he's shown his loyalty to Red Bull, I don't think he would want George next to him as a teammate in this big shakeup. But the Austrian team might not be in a situation to choose. Verstappen is not winning races in a dominant fashion, and they need two competitive drivers up front. So it doesn't get better than putting him and Russell in the same team. Let's not forget about Antonelli. The Italian has been put under a lot of pressure recently, and his results haven't been the best. So many experts suggested that Wolff should put him in a feeder team, potentially Alpine, until he regains his confidence back again. This will be beyond 2026 because Kimi has a contract for next year. But if this happens, and Verstappen were to replace Kimi, there could be an opportunity in which Kimi will be disgruntled and would look for opportunities outside of Mercedes. With all this in mind, do you think that Russell is playing this very smart by delaying the contract talks and making Mercedes fear the lack of opportunities beyond 2026? And more importantly, do you think that there would be changes in Mercedes' lineup after the first year of the new regulations? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now.